Let's do a streaming quality face-off for Jurassic World Dominion using Apple TV 4K. So in this face-off, we're taking a look at Jurassic World Dominion. This one's by request. This was a title that was asked for in the comments of some of my prior face-offs. Take a look at my movies and TV playlist here on the channel for a variety of these types of face-offs with other movies across other services as well. But here we've got Jurassic World. This is the first NBC Universal title as well that I'm doing. So we get to include Peacock, our first look in any of the face-offs at Peacock. Just for background, I am playing these movies on my 83-inch LG G2 television here in the living room. I'm using a latest model Apple TV 4K, and I do have the developer mode HUD information access enabled so we can see all the details about the video, the audio, the channels, and the codecs and such that are being delivered by a handful of services, and we're going to take a look at a bunch of them right now. So let's start with Amazon. Amazon promises us, according to the icons, UHD HDR and only 5.1 audio. We've encountered this a bunch. Should be Dolby Atmos. We're not getting Dolby Atmos on the Apple TV. So if we take a look at what we are getting here, we've got QHPC codec, HDR10 is being reported, and we actually are getting HDR. Sometimes Amazon fails to actually give you the HDR that it promises. QEC3 codec, but our bit rates overall here are Amazon-esque, and they leave a lot to be desired. 192K audio for 5.1 total blah, 17.85 peak video, 14.97 average video, not much of a spread there, low numbers, mid-teens, normal Amazon. We do get the movie in scope, but I don't find any reference though to the extended edition, so I think we're stuck with just the theatrical here. Amazon Video, not the place, not the prime place to be watching movies, critical watching of movies on an Apple TV. Next up, Movies Anywhere. One that we've had a mixed relationship with in these face-offs because sometimes Movies Anywhere hasn't always locked on and delivered to its actual potential, but the potential for Movies Anywhere is really good. So Jurassic World Dominion here, Dolby Vision and Dolby Atmos. Let's see what we get. All right, so very happy with the playback of Movies Anywhere. Locked on to all the stuff right away. 4K resolution, delivering, stable, looking pretty good. I think some recent updates, whether that's Apple TV itself or the Movies Anywhere app, fixed some of the problems that I was experiencing with Movies Anywhere in the earlier face-offs. So lately, Movies Anywhere looking pretty good. And the numbers are awesome. QHD1 codec, Dolby Vision 5, not just HDR10. We are getting Dolby Atmos here, EC3, 16 channels, 640 kilobit. That's normal for Movies Anywhere Atmos. Some services go a bit higher, not by any major factor, but some other providers do better on the audio, but still 640K, Dolby Atmos in this type of container is up there. It's up there for streaming for sure. Video side though, looking impeccable. 32.37 peak video bitrate, 24.3 average video bitrate. That's about the best that we're going to get out of a lot of streaming, but getting into the 30s on the peak, getting into the mid-20s on the average, that's great. And so Movies Anywhere making a very, very strong showing here. Here's where Movies Anywhere falls apart a little bit. They do give you access to the extended edition of the film, but it's not at the same quality as the theatrical. Why? Who knows? We've got 256 kilobit 5.1 channel audio, and it's not even in 4K. 1080p for the extended version. 10 megabit peak, 8 megabit average, HD video. Come on, Movies Anywhere. If you're going to give the extended version, who's going to watch this? Yeah, so if you're watching on Movies Anywhere, you're watching the theatrical. Don't touch the extended edition. And I did go back just to make sure it wasn't a streaming fluke, that maybe it wasn't locking on or providing the right elements for the extended edition. It's given what they have, because back to the theatrical, we're right back. 4K, Dolby Vision, Dolby Atmos, high bit rates, all that stuff. Kind of a bummer, but stick to the theatrical on Movies Anywhere and you're doing pretty good. All right, next up, Peacock. And I have to say, I'm not too enamored with Peacock. We are promised 4K UHD, no HDR, no mention of Dolby Atmos here. So what does Peacock actually give us? Not a whole lot. We've got QHVC. We're actually getting SDR, as promised, no HDR. 5.1 audio, it looks like 194 kilobit per second bitrate on the audio, meh. 25.44 peak video actually isn't all that bad. Average 15. I'd like to see that higher. The best case scenario for streaming is to get your peaks up into the 30s, to get your averages up into the 20s, so this is a step down from that. But altogether, I mean, hey, it's free, although it took about 3 minutes of commercial watching from pressing play to the actual movie itself starting. I don't know if I subscribe to, I think, a cheaper tier of Peacock. If you spend a little bit more, you can eliminate that, but the commercials on Peacock, I find them to be pretty atrocious. We do have access to the extended version of the movie on Peacock as well. It is supposed to be in 4K UHD. All right, so 60 seconds of commercials to start the extended edition on Peacock, and we're getting actually much the same in the extended version as in the theatrical. Same exact audio, same codecs, 194 kilobit, 25 peak video, 15 average video. It's in 4K, but it's in SDR. So I guess it's beating Movies Anywhere in that regard. I take the 4K extended edition over an HD extended edition. Although I suppose if you're a Peacock subscriber, you're already paying the monthly fee, you just want to watch the movie, there you go. It's available at least. Next up, Vudu. And I can't make this stuff up. I've experienced now one of the biggest failure modes that I've seen with the streaming service. So I bought Jurassic World Dominion on iTunes. That's my preferable place to actually purchase content for a variety of reasons. I bought it more or less for this face-off specifically. I expected the movie to port to Movies Anywhere and then out to all of the other service providers, which so far as you've seen, it did that successfully. But wouldn't you know, I pull up Vudu to go ahead and start playback of Jurassic World to take the measurements and all that. And what do I see in my Vudu library? I don't see Jurassic World Dominion. I see Leon, the Professional. Vudu screwed up. Vudu gave me the rights to something else from the trigger of Movies Anywhere. Now, who's to blame for that? Is it Movies Anywhere itself sending a bad notice or notification to Vudu to unlock this movie in my account? Is it Vudu itself that took the notification from MA and just did the wrong thing with it? I have to kind of suspect Vudu because, as we've seen so far here, I bought it on iTunes, I had access properly to it in MA, and I had proper access to it in Amazon. So it ported to the Amazon video just fine, but Vudu didn't take it. I'm not going to pay full price for it again. You can't even technically buy it on the Apple TV. I'd have to go back to my computer and stuff. So Vudu, failure mode. Epic and utter failure mode here. Didn't even have access to the movie that I should have. I guess I will go back and file a request or a support claim or something with Vudu to get the movie properly and rightfully added to my account. If I can do that, I'll add some comments or try to do something in this video in the future giving the Vudu technicals and the streaming rates. Failure mode, can't do it, can't watch it. Vudu's out in this face-off challenge. And I want these face-offs to be like as natural as they could be, meaning I sit down here, I buy the film, I access it on these services, and if it plays, it plays. If it doesn't play, it doesn't play. And I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to show that. I'm going to show the failure modes. Another way to make these videos would be to get everything set up in some kind of an ideal environment. But I think it's more useful and it's more telling about how the services work when we show if and how they fail. So there you go. All right, next up, iTunes. Very happy with iTunes. I hadn't been as happy with them in a couple of the recent face-offs, Top Gun Maverick and a few others. It felt like the bit rates with Apple were starting to slip, but we're back kind of to true form here. So QHD1 codec, Dolby Vision 5 on the video, QEC3 16 channels, proper Dolby Atmos at 770K, the king of the hill, the king of the heap, outpacing Movies Anywhere's 640 kilobit Dolby Atmos, 770K. That's the tops, that's the best, that's also kind of the norm for iTunes Dolby Atmos audio. But on the video side, Apple's back, stepping up the game a bit here. 30.84 peak video, 25.18 average video. I'd like to see a little bit more of a spread there, maybe a little bit higher of a peak, getting into the mid-30s than the low 30s, but at least we have a 3 in front of the number. I'm very, very happy when I see that at least, and we're right there in the mid-20s of average video bitrate. So iTunes delivering. On iTunes, we do also have access to the extended version and, of course, all of the special features, which is pretty normal for iTunes. And for the extended version, did Apple give us the 4K HDR Dolby Vision, Dolby Atmos extended version? Nope. We have an HD extended edition, 5.1 audio at 384 kilobit per second, better for 5.1, but it's not Dolby Atmos. 14.93 peak, 10.4 average video bitrate for the 1080p HD encoded. I guess for this movie, if you're streaming this thing, I guess forget about the extended edition. Stick to the theatrical. Kind of a bummer. This had been the case for a long time with iTunes, where like movie variants, essentially extended edition director's cuts that were separately accessed in the iTunes menus, were often only in HD or kind of in like substandard quality. However, for a while now, that really hasn't been the case. I've noticed a lot more of the special editions of the movies or multiple cuts of the movies have been at the same quality as the others. I don't know why they didn't do this. Maybe this will change in time. Maybe they'll provide the assets and update this. That would certainly be nice if they did, but there you go, iTunes. All right, let's chat for a minute about other platforms, higher fidelity platforms for this movie, especially given all the logistics with the theatrical and the extended edition. So talking about Kaleidescape and the physical 4K Blu-ray release, which is available now as well. So Kaleidescape actually has it all. The regular movie and the extended edition. It's a 160 gigabyte download, which basically means K is giving you both movies, or kind of forcing you to download both movies independently. Doesn't use seamless branching and such like an actual disc release might. But you have it. You have the theatrical version and the extended edition, both in full 4K HDR, on Dolby Atmos actually here, for Kaleidescape as well, lossless Dolby Atmos, both films. So the extended edition is about 14 minutes or so longer than the theatrical. So if you take a 160 gigabyte download, splitting up that size, I don't know what the exact separation is. It's 160 gigabytes essentially for both films. You cut it in half, that's 80. It's probably like a 75-85 split between the normal and the theatrical, maybe even a little bit closer than that. On disc, this movie did come on a BD100, and it did pack apparently the theatrical and the extended editions on that same disc. So physical media releases usually are able to pack the disc with different branching, so you don't have to replicate the movie in its entirety. I don't actually have access to this disc, at least not yet, so I'm going off of what I've read on Blu-ray.com. But it does look like that's the case. An MKV rip of the theatrical version of this movie, clocking in about 58 gigabytes and about 65 gigabytes for the extended version. But on disc, you do get the extended version in full 4K HDR, and the disc version actually has DTS:X audio, not Dolby Atmos. So if you want to watch this movie, of course in higher fidelity, pick K, pick the Blu-ray release. But if you want to watch the extended version, you got to go to a non-streaming platform. I haven't actually seen the film yet myself, but based on what I have seen mentioned about it, I do believe that the recommendation is that the extended version is the better cut of the film as well. All right, so final verdict. If I was going to stream this film, I'm going iTunes. Generally, Movies Anywhere has surpassed iTunes in some of its bit rates lately, but I would generally always just prefer and opt to use iTunes over MA. Here, though, we're either at parity on the video with MA, or we're better in terms of the Dolby Atmos audio from iTunes. Essentially, forget everything else. Even if I was able to access the movie on Vudu, I don't have a whole lot of hope that it necessarily would have been any better on Apple TV 4K anyway. Vudu usually streams a little lower than MA and iTunes and such hit at, although it probably should have been able to deliver Dolby Vision and Atmos as well. But the winner here, iTunes, close second, Movies Anywhere. Anything else is left in the dust. Again, if you're streaming this movie, stick to the theatrical. Essentially, forget about the extended version. If you want to watch the extended version, get off of streaming, go get the disc, rent it, borrow it, whatever, or get yourself a Kaleidescape. What do you think? Did you watch Jurassic World Dominion? Where'd you watch it? How was the quality? Why did you choose what you choose? Sound off in the comments, let me know. Otherwise, please do all the regular YouTube stuff and check out a whole bunch more of these type of streaming face-off movie content challenges here on the channel. Please like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, leave those comments. Even just the thanks or the thumbs up means a lot. Look down in the description for some ways to support the channel. There's Amazon affiliate links. You can leave a super thanks. You could sponsor the channel with a membership and more. And as always, thanks for watching. Coming back for more home theater discussion and fun.